So I know I said I don't want to talk about anything controversial, but I just want to go straight into it. Why is Yellowstone National Park the most fucking overrated national park?
Man, right?
Like, I'm so glad you agree with me on that. Like,
yeah.
like after going to Grand Teton, like objectively, the Grand Teton National Park is better than Yellowstone.
I agree. Like, I mean, okay. So I told you guys this already, but for the listeners out there, I basically referred to like Yellowstone as like the Disney World of national parks. Like,
yeah,
it
great
is
way to
just,
describe it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it is just like so crowded, and it's like everything's like an attraction. So like, oh, like let's go watch this geyser explode, like, and that's pretty uneventful. Like, let's go watch this like Grand Pristine, Old Pristine, whatever it's called,
Old
like,
Faithful.
Old Faithful, and then what, the Grand Prismatic,
the Grand Prismatic Springs, yeah,
which is cool. But yeah, I mean, everything's like a boardwalk. Like, there's not like a lot of genuine like hiking.
Yeah.
The wildlife was cool. Like, I had a buffalo like graze the van, which was pretty badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, if you really like hiking and views, like Grand Tetons is where it's at.
It's
like,
so much better, especially if you go into the backcountry.
Way less crowded too. Like, I mean, Grand Tetons was still like busy, but it wasn't like Yellowstone busy. Like, I mean, I was in traffic jams. I was like, could not find parking. Like, it was just nuts. So
I'm so glad that you shared that experience with me, because literally what I was expecting to be the highlight of the country.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot of fun facts. Yellowstone was the first plot
National
of
park,
land
right?
in the world.
No way.
It was the world's first preserved land.
Wow.
It was the I mean, it was in the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Like, literally, I mean, we're in a civil war, and you know, cars aren't invented yet. There's no tourism.
Yeah.
But they looked at Yellowstone and they were like, we need to preserve this.
Yeah.
And I knew that going into it, and I was like, Yellowstone has to be the best fucking coolest place ever. I get there, and day one, you know, I was on the boardwalk in like the Old Faithful area. We were looking at all the geysers and the hot springs and the bubbles coming out of the ground. And I'm like, this is super sick. But the more I was there, I was just like we went to Mammoth Hot Springs, and oh my God, what a fucking waste of a day.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Like, what an uneventful waste of a day.
Conspiracy / controversial topic for you about the like first national park. Like, I almost wondered that whenever I was there. Like, do you think it's just because they like conserve that land because they're like, oh, we don't want people dying because they're just walking around a field and all of a sudden they fall into this Grand Prismatic and it's 400-degree boiling water like that they're falling into.
I don't think that, because I mean, you could do that on private property, just buy that land and say like, hey, we're not going to do that.
Well,
I think what it was is the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. What I know about it is this actually the only ecosystem in the country that 100% of the plants and animals, the flora and the fauna, it's still there.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, there's not a single species that has been, you know, like killed or driven away or added or subtracted.
That's cool.
Like, the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, it's how it was 1800 or in 1800.
Yeah.
I think
Yellowstone. I just like imagine this, like, I have this like 1800 visions of like someone walking around this like field. And they're like, oh, this like, wow, what a beautiful lake. And they like put their hand in it or something.
And it just boils alive.
And it's like, oh, I just burn my hand.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
We should probably knock off this place of land for other people.
Well,
not
I think
to
right
have
as
the
you
same
see
experience.
water shoot 100 feet in the sky out of the lake, you're about to put your hand in, just know, like, hey, don't put your hand in that.
I heard someone like, so what is it? Iceland's like known for some geysers too.
Yeah.
And apparently like some American was like, you know what? I'm going to climb inside this geyser. And
of course.
it was just like, you know.
What year did that guy die?
I want to say it was pretty recently.
Oh, so he's wow. That's...
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just like classic, like.
By the way, so Yellowstone is absolutely, the way I would describe Yellowstone is just like the place to go if you don't want to go to any other nature.
Yeah.
Like what's cool about Yellowstone, you get to see bison, you get to see elk, you get to see
the
deer.
bison were really cool.
You get to see black bears, you get to see grizzlies. But you can see all of those in Grand Teton. You can see those.
I mean, the bison were pretty up close.
Yeah.
Also, learn the difference between a bison and a buffalo. Do you know?
Yeah, actually.
Go for it. I feel like you're going to say it more correctly than I am.
So this is one of those things where I was like, I don't know why, but I have to know this.
Yeah.
I have to know this fun
fact. I was
fact.
getting so confused, like, because everyone's like, oh, like, there's bison, there's buffalo. And I'm like, is it a bison or is it
See,
buffalo?
I'm glad you just threw me this question because I've had this fucking floating around in my head, and I'm like, people need to know this.
Yeah, people do need to know this.
So the name of what's in America is a bison.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like I was telling you earlier, like the scientific name for a California coastal redwood is the Sequoia sempervirens. It's like this long Latin name. The scientific name for a bison, the North American bison, is bison. There's no buffalo in it.
Yeah.
There's no buffalo in North America. The only buffalo is in Asia and Africa.
Yeah.
So what we have is bison.
Yeah.
But the reason why we think it's called buffalo, you look at that, you're like, oh, that's a buffalo.
Yeah.
Bison are very similar to cows, and there's a French word for cow. Or there's a French word for, I think cow. Yeah. Beef.
Okay.
Like pretty much just beef.
Beef. Yeah.
So they started calling them beefs.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which actually, here's a fun fact I learned: beef is the gender-neutral term for a cow.
Really?
A cow is a female cow. A bull is a male cow.
Yeah. And then a heifer is a kid.
It's a calf.
Okay. The calf.
I think
so then what's a heifer versus a calf?
I know I listened to a farmer's podcast. So a cow technically. We're going so far away from where I thought we were going to go on this podcast, by the way.
We should probably bring it back up to, like, not cows and heifers.
Fuck it. I mean, let's talk. I know it depends on whether the cow is lactating on what you call it. So I think a heifer is a female cow that hasn't lactated yet. It hasn't given a kid.
Okay.
And
a calf is, like, the true baby.
Yeah, legit baby.
All right. Well, there's your farm lesson for the day.
There's the useful information that's not useful at all, unless you're going to have a conversation with someone and they're like, hey, by the way, do you know the difference between what a buffalo is?
Basically, the point of this is there are no buffalo in the United States.
There's no buffalo in North America.
Just bison.
It's bison, yeah.
Cool.
I still call it buffalo.
Yeah, I do too.
They look like a buffalo.
Like buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Okay.
Anyways,
we digress.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna bring this tangent back to what I wanted to talk about. I think Yellowstone is good as a national park, and I think the reason why it's so highly rated, if you don't go to other national parks, that's a badass national park.
And I would also say, like, Yellowstone is good for those people who appreciate geology, like wildlife. And that's about it. Like, if you really like hiking and like vistas, not your national park.
Yeah, definitely not a national park. If you want to go backpacking, Yellowstone's not your park.
Nah, I mean, like, especially the Grand Tetons right there, like,
yeah,
it's the place.
What's up, guys? What you just watched was a clip from my interview with CamperVan Kate. If you want to watch the full episode, I'll leave a link to it in the description. It'll be the first link. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the video. If you did, I would appreciate if you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, I would appreciate if you hit subscribe. My name is Braden Sky. Thanks for watching.